Hello, welcome to the Wargamer. I'm your host Rob. Welcome to Stream Sheet Day 102. How are you all doing? Today in the studio, it's just me for the show. We're going to be hanging out. We're going to be talking. I'm going to tell you about the future of my hobby. That's going to be the plan, and I'm going to be talking to the Twitch chat doing questions and answers. We've had a pretty hectic couple of days on the stream streaks. Some big topics discussed, and if I'm honest with you, I just kind of wanted a calmer day. Is that fair? Does that make sense? I just wanted a light-hearted, fun chat with the Twitch chat about my hobby and what I think we're going to be doing in the future. So that's going to be a nice, chill Saturday. Although it's not that chill, it's more scorchio in my office. It's very warm. Hello everyone. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me live. I see all you guys who are joining me live. Propagation, Callum, Ange, Winner, Dave, Boring Man Child, Mima, Sir Callum. I want to say a big shout out to everyone listening to the podcast. Please stay hydrated. Get your waters to hand right here. And also, thank you to the Wargamer Patreons. Couldn't do it without you. And to my newest community, my YouTubers. All you guys are leaving some comments below. I'm really enjoying that at the minute. So please do leave a comment. It's making me happy. Eyeglasses says it's finally raining here. Thank goodness. Yes, it rained a bit here yesterday and cooled off a tiny bit. But my studio is quite enclosed. There's no throughfare of air. So warm is an understatement. What up, Hawkeye? Wargaming Dad. Hey man, it's pretty cool and wet down in London right now. Okay, positive. Hopefully that'll come north. Hey K Dread, how are you? It's wet and windy in Cornwall. Okay, I will drink some water. I will. While I talk to you guys, my plan is to paint up this stomper. So that's going to be a good day. Napropatin, I think I got that right. Good day. So. It's been a combative, maybe. It's been there's been some really good, healthy conversations on this Wargamer past couple of days, which I've really enjoyed, and I appreciate both Vince and Darren coming on the show to talk to you about some of those elements, and also for the people who've reached out to me and said that they've also would like to be a part of that conversation. I've really enjoyed it. And I'd like to know what you guys think. Some of the days we didn't necessarily, because on some of the subjects I wanted to let Darren or Vince speak, so I felt like you guys maybe didn't have your voice in the pie. So I would love to know what you guys have thought about them, both as content, like did you enjoy them, but also on the subject matter. I mean, I enjoyed them massively, but also I don't really want, and I expressed this yesterday, one of the key things that I really don't want to do is that to be the thing that I'm talking about all the time. I like talking about the hobby, the tactics, the strategies, the synergies, the different personalities of people who we see playing the game. That's what gets me super hype. And so I don't really want to have those conversations all of the time. So I'd be interested to know what you guys think. Tim Wheelbarrows has loved them. Okay, well, I'm glad you've enjoyed them, because I at least hope that they've been entertaining. Great chat with Vince the other day, really enjoyed it. I think really what we're all saying about my chat with Vince the other day, and I don't have any pride in this, so I don't mind saying it, is we all love listening to Vince talk, and I would agree with that. Vince, with his mouth, he's like the Duncan Rhodes of talking, only he's also the Vince of painting, so he's... if I'm honest with you, I kind of hate him. He's so talented. It really upsets me. It's like my friend, all of the people I know, Nikos, Tom, Nathan. My skills seem to be maybe talking about stuff on the internet. Maybe that's some of my skills, and visualizing some ideas. And there are people who are better than me at it already, or there's people who are equally as good at me at, and they also have other skills. So I'm frustrated and upset sometimes about that. As someone who's been edging back into AOS, it's been an interesting set of conversations to follow. Okay, Sir Callum, what are you thinking about playing? That's the real question. Great chat with Vince the other day, really enjoyed it. Good. Vince is always a great guest, but the show with Darren yesterday was great. Okay, well that's good. Yeah, I mean Darren's also a love, isn't he? And I think Darren has this deep desire for the world to be the best place it can be, and I also have that desire as well. I feel that the world isn't necessarily always going to be that way, but that doesn't matter. That's fine with me. Uh, Rise up, peasants. I think that was my favourite bit about the chat yesterday, which didn't come through into the audio, was that when Vince was talking about his Viva la Revolution. Can we also talk about the fact that Vince encouraged us to revolt, and his revolt was to not revolt at all? I'm very confused by his end statement. This is not me to get into it now. If I'm to go back to it, I would have that conversation with him face to face. But it was like, this, we need to do something. I'm like, okay, what are we going to do? He's like, grin and bear it. I'm like, that is not what I would expect. uh, um, in my opinion, it's been the best week, I guess, ever. Even if it dragged it down, even if I dragged it down a bit. Colonel Cabbage, you were great on the show. I appreciate you. Great conversations, but I agree it's good to find a balance and remind ourselves we all love the hobby first and foremost. We do, and this is kind of my focus today. I'd like to talk about, as well as painting a stomper, about my excitement for the hobby. But I'll keep talking about this on the shows that we've had so far, and what I'm looking forward to for the rest of the year, because there's a lot to look forward to, and I'm very excited to do so. So I would like to talk about that a little bit, if you guys would indulge me to do so, and talk to you guys about what you're excited about, because I think it's shaping up to be a really sweet year. And also, now, obviously the caveat of COVID, like, I don't think it's behind us. Let's just have that conversation very quickly. Obviously, America, they've got this giant spike. Some places are crushing it, like making it go away, which is great. Wargaming with restrictions, tournaments with restrictions. I understand. I'm just more looking towards a more positive future. I'm just being hopeful. I understand the negatives that do exist, but I'm still just being hopeful. Okay? There we go. I've got a good few armies from the end of AOS 1, but Darren has helped me put together a Screamer heavy list for Host Arcanum. So, Callum, I was running a Host Arcanum Tzeentch army. They're great fun. Really, really good. I love Darren's Tortoise. I also like Darren's Tortoise. It's great. I really enjoyed that. Raise up and do nothing. Yes. Hey, Vince often listens to you and recommends your shows on his podcast. That means you're doing something right. I kind of think... Oh, I don't want to say that. I was thinking this today. I think we're kind of the podcasters' podcast. It's like the 40k community listen to us a bit, right? But someone like the Peter, the Falcone, or Val Heffelfinger, those guys all listen to the show as well. We're like the podcasters' podcast. Does that make sense? It's just like we're like dealing with the issues, the issues which the podcasters are interested in. You know, the content creators are interested in those subjects. They're not necessarily interested in listening to the content that they produce. They want content that they can engage with, right? Also, beyond hype for 9th edition, heading back to events and running things in my local club. So, Callum, me agree. Loved all the long words with Colonel Cabbage. Me too. It's been a week of long words. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, it's been hectic. There's been all sorts going down. Trelly, excited for 9th and just getting back to playing with good friends. Gonna fund small tournament for them. Yes. So I saw some people, big shout out to the wonderful Mark, the War Boss Wilson. I saw a picture of him on Twitter yesterday. It looked like they'd just driven to a local field, set up a table, and were playing Warhammer in it. And I was like, that is possibly the coolest thing I've seen in a while. I really, really enjoyed that. I was like, that is rad. I'm tempted to do that. So if any of you in England have got a car, want to pick me up? Oh no, I guess actually that doesn't work because that doesn't socially distance. Never mind. If any of you want to drive to a field local to me, we'll set up a wargaming table and then we'll go play. That sounds fun. I will drink some water. Playing my first game of 40k later in over 3 months, says Scrivo. Okay, well thankfully, Scrivo, you can't have got any worse not playing for the past 3 months, so you're going to be fine. Anyway, I hope to get the club going next week. Stop talking Warhammer, start living it again. Yes, Pete. So that's over in Northern Ireland. If you guys are ever in Northern Ireland, there's a really great gaming club called Exploding Dice. It's run by Pete and Colin and a bunch of other guys, and they are treasures. Treasures. Stubbornly trying to make Chaos Warriors Chosen Enlightened Tzeentch list work. It can be done. Chaos Warriors. Ziggy. Good luck. I'm not feeling that, baby. But maybe it could work. Maybe you get enough warriors and just use them to tank objectives. That could be your plan. So look, I'm going to talk about what I'm looking forward to, if you guys don't mind, because I think there's lots to look forward to, and I'd like to talk about it. And it comes in a couple of different forms, right? Um, I'm obviously, as the guys in the chat are saying, I'm looking forward to seeing the final 9th edition rules for two different reasons. One, I'm very, very, very excited about just playing some 40k, more so than I've been in a couple of years, I'm going to say, truthfully. I feel like it's got a lot of problems. It's had a lot of problems, and a lot of these hopefully will be solved and affected in a really positive way. But I also find relearning a game a little bit and engaging in that game very, very exciting. And I also feel like it's a good point to jump in at a really high level as well and practice a lot and get really, really good. And I also know that there's a bunch of guys locally who also are willing to practice a load as well. So I'm very, very excited for 9th edition. I'm excited to see the rules. I'm excited to understand them. I'm excited to play the missions and learn them. And I'm excited to play a couple of armies for it as well. I think I'm going to play my orcs, and I think I might play Death Guard as well and try and make a more elite Death Guard army. I've been lucky enough, if Trelly's still in the chat, he sent me a bunch of Death Guard stuff the other day. And I know MJ Pegasus also offered to send me some as well. So that's really fun. I think the other thing I'll pick up is a big Mortarian. And then I'm just gonna always run a Mortarian. That's gonna kind of be my Death Guard build. And then and I know, so there is making efficiency in lists and making, and so he might be a really bad call in the game, but I'm just going to keep running it. Just keep running it and see how I do. Like, I'm going to do that thing that I did with my Chaos Dwarves and try and play that for like a year and see if I can kind of eke the best living out of that Mortarian that I can do. And if I end up at the end of it, but then that way I don't have to bother with the hardest part, I guess, is when you're trying to think about things top level and create things top level, is you're constantly chasing the game. And when you're constantly chasing the game, you're constantly chasing the building and painting the armies to chase the game. Problem with that is that requires quite a lot of cash, and I definitely don't have the money to chase the meta. And that's one of the things we don't often talk about when you talk about competitive gaming is you have to normally invest a little bit more maybe than the guy that just sticks with a single army. So I'm going to be just trying to stick with one and see how I could do for a while, which will be exciting, I think. Also, Mortarion is just such a big gangster, right? He might be terrible in 9th, and if it is awful, like as happened with my Harlequins, like I can't win a game, then maybe I'll shelve it, but I think it would be fun to try it out initially. So looking forward to seeing Final 9th rules. Good. It's GHB 2020. Yeah, we'll come to that. I'm very excited about that as well. Is AOS getting a new general sample this summit? It definitely is. I look Dexamon. What up, bud? I look forward to trying my 5 Stegodons I'm working on a real table. Oh my god, that will be good. That would be amazing. I'll talk about Age of Sigmar in a minute because there's definitely some Age of Sigmar armies. Having over the lockdown painted 12 salamanders, I'm excited to put them on the real tabletop as much as anyone. Warlord Joel says I'm looking forward to dumpstering Realm Lords and squishing the overreaction. Okay, all right, let's go, Joel. I'd be interested to see if you think that the Realm Lords are not as good as people are thinking on paper. Games are sort of keeping secrets for the sake of it rather than any purpose in my view, says Boring Man-Child. Okay. Oh, talking about 9th edition. I guess that makes sense. Did you get my message about the Death Guard? MJ Pegasus? I didn't. I will have to look. It's not on my phone. Hi to Bradley. If you could all shout out. So Jack Baker, who's in the chat. So Jack Baker 1919. That's a guy called Bradley. Bradders. And he's a gent. He's located in, I'm just going to do it. Don't laugh at me. Nor never eat shredded wheat. West Australia. And the Western Australian community doesn't normally get as much of a shout out as the Eastern Australian community, because that's where you've got all like the big content creators and it's a bit like North America, Europe for 40k. You don't tend to hear loads about the Russians in 40k. You tend to hear about like whatever is happening in Idaho, for example. So you should just do a big shout out to Bradley in the chat, because that would be cool. Do it. Never leave Magnus at home with my thousand sons. Not necessarily the most efficient, but he's my boy. That's what I'm thinking, Sir Callum. I just want to run the big dude. I just want to run the big dude. And also with the reserve strat that you've now got in ninth edition, I can always guarantee not getting Mortari and Alfred on the first turn, and that is such a huge change to 40k. It means I can take something that previously wouldn't work in 40k, and I can make sure it's going to be on the table in a turn. Now, Mortarion is best when in combat, and so maybe that's not like, that 9-inch charge and trying to drop him in might be a bit of an issue, but it also might not be. So, like, I think it's going to be really fun. I understand there's logistics problems during the pandemic, but the spoiling was just too much. I'm waiting for 10th. I get it, Stahl. I hear what you're saying. I was annoyed you didn't make it clear about the Techless Portal combo, that it's only visible units. There's a counterplay there, and you should be educating people about it. Okay. I apologise, Joel, that it is only... I think both Benjamin... Benjamin pointed out the fact that it was visible units. So you are going to be able to hide some units. There isn't a lot of line of sight blocking terrain in the game. Obviously, you've got Sylvaneth Wildwoods, but for me personally, I don't think it's a major issue because it's important and it's definitely something to bring up. So thank you for correcting me and talking to me about it. But the Sentinels, who are 36-inch shooting mortal wound bombs, which ignore line of sight, are going to be the answer to that part. So if you're like, I'm going to make this character safe from Techless's Technado, you're like, okay. Because there isn't normally loads of line of sight blocking terrain on a table in Age of Sigmar, would you say? I don't tend to play on I don't know. You guys let me know if there's enough that it would be important. At least you can protect Mortarion from... yeah, that's true. Still not doing the Tantalus. I'm tempted by the Tantalus, but it's too much to paint, I think. Now your mate's with Scary, he could help you out with Dark Eldar. No. Joel, Rob on Twitch, Lumineth in hand, all I need is a beer. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Yes, some people, who got the Lumineth today? That's the real question. Scrunny Hugh, how are you doing? I'm planning my third Dreadsaurian at the moment. I'm thinking of doing Mazda Mundi Redux. Oh, my God, Hugh, I love you so much. Please do it. Oh, my God. There's a 1250 point event on today, and someone had a list with 12 salamanders in it. You can't stop them. I'm actually kind of happy about that, in some way. Because people, what's really making me laugh is how many people are going to own the ugliest model in Age of Sigmar. Like, you all know that I hate Saurus Knights and how ugly they are, but having salamanders, which are uglier, surely no one's disputed that salamanders are uglier, be one of the most efficient units in all of Age of Sigmar is so funny. Just, yeah. Crazy Horse. I think Lumineth Realm Lords are beatable because they will have model count and movement issues if Techless is in their list. Okay. Well, we all get to find out, which is fun. Not got the Lumineth box, as it looks like it's not fun to play against and play Daughters last year. Okay, so you want to give something more interaction. That seems fair. Been painting Troggoth army, says White Dwarf Shame. In my lockdown, how many Fellwater Troggoths should I buy? Oh, see, everyone now. I know Rock Guts are very popular because they ignore spell damage. They got that boulder attack, and they're pretty decent in the fight. But I played Nathan a few times with Fellwaters, and I rate them. I think 6 is good. And you could even do 2 blocks of 6s if you really wanted to. The sick attack that they do, which is amazing. It's like, oh, honey, why did you buy these? Well, actually, they throw up on people in the game, and it makes me smile when that happens. It's like, okay, honey, you carry on with your toys, because that's weird. If Benjamin brought up, my bad, I missed that. I didn't think you can hide everything, but if you're smart, they can't steal everything first turn. Joel, I agree. Like, listen, the inclusion of tech lists. By the way, the inclusion of tech lists means that if you're playing Chaos, you 100% start with Be'lakor on your list, like you just do. Because Vince's point the other day was that we're in the age of mega casters, so Nagash, tech lists, Croak. To name but a few. I didn't agree with him about the Lord of Change, but again, if I want to have that conversation actually with Vince, I will do. A lot of what Vince was saying the other day. I was just letting him be the speaker and talking where I talked. But I don't think Lord Change is as good as those three, even close. But Be'lakor is your counter if you want Be'lakor on your list, and it should be. Be'lakor should just be in every list. Now, Be'lakor itself is an incredibly negative play experience, because if you don't know what Be'lakor does, Be'lakor picks a unit, and at the start of their hero phase, you activate its ability. On a 5-up, they can't do anything in the hero phase, combat phase, shooting phase. Now, with those mega casters, sometimes it's less of an issue because they're only doing, well, let's say Teclis, it's only spell phase that's super important. Apart from moving is also key if he's doing that 18-inch bubble. So if you could make it so that he can't do one or two of those, it happens on a 5-up. That's pretty big. But Be'lakor isn't going to work every time. But I don't think I'm being disingenuous in saying that if Teclis has his spell go off, your army might be depleted enough. Sometimes it won't be, but your army could, not in enough cases, let's just say an average amount of cases, to be fair, to make the fairest argument I can, in an average amount of cases will mean that the game is effectively over on the first turn. Not forgetting, Teclis is going to do that on the second turn as well, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth. But there will be some cases where that's not in effect. It's then, are there too few bodies that it's going to affect it? That's the question, which I think is a good one. But Be'lakor, baby, if you're playing Chaos, and it doesn't matter what flavor Chaos, Be'lakor. Just find any old model, paint it a bit weird, stick some additional stuff on. The Be'lakor model sucks. Just grab a bunch of Demon Prince bits and whatever, and just make yourself a Be'lakor, and just be like, that's my Be'lakor. Arguably is how you start writing lists in Safe Startness, but it can be allied into any army. I think all its abilities are on the War Scroll. Be'lakor every day. Right, so my plan for not creating MPE, says Anjak, with my Lumineth, is A, taking half a year to paint the army, so we get nerfs before I can play them, and B, taking a bad list and playing poorly. You're my guy. You're thinking it all the way through. As Joel says, didn't even know there were tournaments. We never see them anywhere. So there we go. There's some Aussies talking. Tantalus is perfect for an airbrush. It is. I've actually set my airbrush up just there. In fact, you can see the kind of side of the box, which that's awful work on my part there. Let's just adjust this. Oh no. There we go. Make it a bit fancier. Are you going to love my Saurus Knight and Salamander army, aren't you, Sis Grunty Hugh? No, Hugh. I don't want you to do that. Don't do that, Hugh. No one wants to see it. Yeah, it's disgusting. It's so awful that Salamander's Marauders are great while looking so bad. It seems like a terrible way of balancing a meta game. Also, oh my God, can we talk about this a little bit? This is a great point. I'm going to say this all the time. If Games Workshop were really good at writing rules, now this isn't a dig, yeah, this is just kind of like a conversation. What they would do is they would write rules for the really pretty models, so that if a new person was walking by, they go, oh my God, look at that, look at the any of the Warcry warbands. Oh shit, son. Those guys look sweet AF, yeah. Or they'd be looking at KO boats, or KO boats are pretty good. So flamers are good, but maybe Zangor look incredible. Honestly, they look amazing. Even Carrick Acolytes, they look great. Any of those models, and you just be like, okay. What else can we? Basiladons. They're good, so they'll hopefully see the table. But they're like, no, you can play any of Chaos, Marauders, Flamers, Pink Horrors. Pink Horrors look cool, in my opinion. I think Pink Horrors look really cool. But if they were gonna write Cries in Eidolon, if they were gonna write rules to make the game look they're like, okay, make sure all the good looking models have good rules, and then some guys no, maybe they've just got a really old Warhammer player who writes the rules, and he's just fucking super horny for Marauders and Salamanders, and he's just got them on his shelf, and he's just these guys look great, I bought these 20 years ago and I love how they look. I mean, look how good Eldar were in 40k. Look how good Eldar were in 40k, and they look trash. Like Shining Spears look fine. Like they look fine. Anyway, a new Be'lakor model would be so good. Yeah, it would be. There's also a really good Be'lakor alternative available from Creature Caster. I think they've got like a Demon Prince of the Dark Rune or something who is a absolutely, and also again, just because I go on there quite often, there's some nice Demon Princes available on Mist Miniatures as well. I always look at those guys for like alternative models, but Creature Caster also do excellent alternative models as well. They have possibly the best Lord of Change alternate I've ever seen. Like, it's a model I would never paint, but it's just phenomenal. Plums. I'm confused as fuck about if Brutish Cunning works on Bone Splitters as Iron Fist does in a BW Allegiance. Games Workshop never gave an answer to this FAQ when they addressed the Iron Fist Battalion. I'm confused as fuck about the Brutish Cunning works. So Brutish Cunning is where you take damage and you move forward. That's Brutish Cunning, right? On Bone Splitters, as Iron Fist does in Big War Allegiance. Games Workshop never gave an answer to this FAQ and they addressed an Iron Fist Battalion. Do you know what, Plums? I'll go and research that and look it up. Without looking on my phone and start reading things, which would be awful TV, I wouldn't be able to answer. But I promise you, I'll take a look through on that. I wanted a tweet about my Death Guard stuff. I'm on the fence about Lumineth. I love Venari regardless of rules. Mountain stuff, less so. I love the Venari regardless of rules, mountain stuff, less so. But I'm a fair way into collecting Living City. I'd be all in if the timing was right. Okay, I actually think Lumineth, I would potentially collect a mountain army. I'd go for the character cow, a couple of little cows, and some mountain men. And I don't think that's a bad army at all. I would be very excited about playing that. I think it would be really fun. So there you go. Joel's answered. Thanks, Joel. It needs keyword Iron Jaws on the scroll. So that's why the Rogue Idol works. There we go. Making that cash cow. British Cunning just gives me free Mighty Destroyers, which requires Iron Jaws keyword. I might go almost full cav. Oh my god. For the Lumineth, that would be rad. So I'm looking forward to 9th edition. Very much looking forward to 9th edition. Very much so. With 2 armies. Oh, sorry about hitting the mic there. That's awful. With 2 different armies. Orcs and Death Guard, I'm thinking. Death Guard will take me a little bit longer to put together, I think. But Orcs and Death Guard. And then, off the back of that, we've obviously got the GHB. And the GHB is the most... I'm very, very excited for the GHB. Very, very excited for the GHB. Number 1, new battle plans. New battle plans are really good. And it's such a shame that we didn't get very long with the battle plans from last year, because I think that they did a great job on the battle plans last year. I was a really big fan of the battle plans last year. I'm not sure what you guys think in the chat. I'd like to hear what you think, actually. So, big fan of the battle plans last year. So, I'd like to see some more. I'm very excited to also see points changes and rules changes. So to see what we're going to see there, see if we see things like Salamanders and Croak have some points adjustments. See if we think things like Eels adjusted again. Whether or not we see Eidolon go down another 10 points would be fun. Whether or not we see some those other elements that could do with some points dropping. Troggoths could do with some points drops, I think. I think that seems fair, especially in light of some of the recent characters that we've seen out there. I think some some Cities of Sigmar units could come down in their points because they don't have very good internal balance inside the book. I think that's a bit of an issue. So I think I'd like to see some more internal balance inside Cities of Sigmar. I'd like to see... I feel I'm going to be on the fence about Bone Reapers. I'm just going to say I'd like to see what they do with Bone Reapers. At the minute. Because I feel like... Henry Steele, thanks for subscribing. Also, if you guys want to go check out a cool paint studio, you should go check out the Cult of Paint on YouTube and or Patreon. Yes, nailed it. We'd love to see more tribes get some points drops. Yes, Warp Spider. I think more tribes could definitely do. I think that they could have some Gluttons could be even cheaper. I think Lead Belchers could be even cheaper. I think Iron Blasters could be even cheaper. I think Scrap Launchers could be even cheaper. Frost Lords and Stonehorns are fine. They're really good in the game. Don't get me wrong, they're really good, but they're at best a 4-1 army. Maybe sometimes occasionally a 5-0, but they're not all the way up there. I'd like to see either Iron Guts come down or Man-Eaters come down. I'd love to see some changes with them as well. I think that would be fun. When it comes to Uruk War Clans, I wouldn't mind seeing Ard Boys go up some points, even though they're not necessarily smashing all the tournaments all the time. They were doing really well for a very long time. I think I'd like to see those go up personally. Not much. Maybe so you have 1 unit less. I think that would be fine. But I know that they already took a bit of a nerf with the change to one of the battalions, but that battalion was obviously dumb. I'd like to see Flamers go up points. Having already just painted up 15 of them during lockdown, I want to see them go up points. I want to see Salamanders going up points. Having painted 12 of them during lockdown, I want to see them go up points. What else do I want to do? Do I want to see any change to endless spells? That's a great question. No. Do you know what? When I write lists with endless spells in, I want all of the Seraphon endless spells to go up in points. Like, an additional 10 points for bound endless spell is not the same. I reckon it should be... I don't want to be hyperbolic. Should it be double? It should be more. But 10 points isn't enough. 10 points isn't enough. Maybe 30 points for the ability... Okay, we're basically paying points for the bound element, which is only I can cast a spell, only I can control the spell, my spell. So I guess really, the question is to the Twitch chat, what do you think points value-wise that's worth? So I think that's the thing. Drop Kadai, they're shit. What make them cheaper? I think that's fair. GHB 19 was terrific, says Most in Power. I agree with that. We'll have seen more tribes get some points drops. Yeah, we talked there. Chaos Dwarves need some pretty decent drops. They do. Chaos Dwarves do need some points drops across the board, really. Brutes and More Boys need a points change. Do you think More Boys need to be cheaper? Could I only work with Bellacor's list, not in Chaos Dwarves? I know that's not true. They definitely have a role in Chaos Dwarves, as someone who ran them a while. But I think that with the inclusion of Croak and other elements in the game, I think Chaos Dwarves definitely could do with some help anyway. So I think that they could do with having some... I mean, if they wanted to take... the Bull Centaur renders have never been viable at their points. They need to be dropped down to like... I mean, if you compare them to Gore Grunters, like 0% better. Like they're nowhere near as good. If you compare them to Eels, which they're like 10 points more cheaper than, it's ridiculous. So I probably would put them down like 120, 130. The Bull Centaur renders, because they are naff, and the allegiance abilities and abilities that you can give Bull Centaur renders in the game, you can't make them any better. So I wouldn't mind seeing those go down some points. The basic predatory spells can be 10 points probably. The basic predatory spells. Okay. Single bound, a second bound if you have a battalion. Now that's an interesting fix, Feud 1, sorry. That is interesting. That is genuinely cool. I want them to adjust battalion points. Not all battalions are equal. I agree with that. I keep forgetting the Sons of Behemoth. Looking forward to them. I'm really looking forward to that. I was going to talk about that in a minute. Can't wait for the Cygor to drop points and still be rubbish. I agree. I'd like them to give Sylvaneth players a free pull-out new Balto. Let's talk Sylvaneth, actually. What could they do with Sylvaneth to make them more viable? Do you think that we could just see... I mean, a really nice War Scroll change would be just have True Lord Ancient be able to cast 2 spells. Hashtag, obviously. I wouldn't mind seeing all of the Sylvaneth units dropping points. And I mean all of them. All of them. Significant points drops? Yes. I feel like, unfortunately, you kind of like Beast of Chaos in at that point. You're just like, I just want more stuff. But I wouldn't mind if a Sylvaneth player could get 3 to 6 more Kurnoth Hunters in their army over a game. I think that would be That would be fairly useful. I'd like to give similar play. Oh, right. I'd love to see different points for Nagash in OBR versus Nagash in Legions of Nagash. See, now that's very interesting. Winner Dave. I think that makes a lot of sense. Unfortunately, I think they're very unlikely to do that. But that's a very good suggestion. Some sub-faction rules for Gits, ambiguous pair. I'd really like to see that. It would be cool if they put that inside the GHB as well. Oh, that'd be really good. And some better sub-faction rules for Beast of Chaos as well. Beast of Chaos, points dropped across the board. Specifically, also Dragon Ogres, Shaggoths, all the monsters, the Chimera. The Chimera for 240 points versus what you get out of the Cow Mountain. I still need to learn his name. For Lumineth, 120 point difference, but 2-3 times as good. Give Alarielle Feel No Pain or Casting Bonus. Yeah, like, come on, she's a god. I agree, Joel. I agree. Maybe like a 5-up. Do you think a 4-up would be too much? The thing about Alarielle is, I've talked about this quite a few times. The thing about Alarielle is she's... Or, like, if you try to, like, juxtapose Nagash and Legions of Nagash, or we could take Bone Reapers probably is the right example, and Alarielle and Sylvaneth, really, it kind of makes sense that the way that you're going to... Like, they're both meant to be attrition armies, but they work in different ways, I would assume. So, like, Nagash raises stuff from the dead, right? So, you kill a bunch of OBR, and then he brings them back to life. Okay, we're into that. That makes sense. That's thematic, that's narrative, that makes... the other way that Sylvaneth work is you do a bunch of damage, and then Alarielle heals or brings stuff back to life through the power of life. So they've got the same core mechanics, effectively. Like, there's just the reasoning behind why they do what they do is very different, and are meant to be at odds. And I would love to see Alarielle be able to, like, go one-on-one with Nagash. She doesn't have a Hand of Dust spell. She's got nothing. And, like, she doesn't have to be as good a caster, but I wouldn't mind seeing her survivability be right up there. You know, like a 4-up DPR save, so damage prevention roll, or discus and resilience, as you guys might know it. And then the ability for her to heal D6, heal D3, you know, just her ability to just, like, keep... Like, you're like, turn 5, you're like, Alarielle is still in the game. You know, she's got 3 wounds left, and she's healed, like, 40 wounds over the 5-turn game. That's what I'd like to see Alarielle do in the army. Be the centerpiece. Like, with Teclis, they've, if nothing else with Teclis, and Nagash, they've created these characters in these units which are centerpiece and also impactful enough that they're worth taking. Catacross did a good version of that as well. Gotrek, good version of that as well. Light of Eltharion, good version of that as well. They missed it with a Lord of Change, I think. Missed it with Kairos. But Be'lakor is a smaller version of that, but, you know, Bellacor's inclusion in Slave Darkness is Archeon. Another good example, obviously, where they've nailed it, and Alarielle really needs something. And I think that 4+ DPR would be a thing. I really do. For Beast of Chaos, I think every unit pretty much at the point cost should be, they should just be better. Oh, okay. I'd like games to really strengthen open play so that match play is easier to point. Really, Mostin, sorry, I lost you on that one. You have to... unlikely to happen, but I agree with Vince's idea for Wildwoods, just making it pick terrain pieces. This becomes a Wildwood, and also gets rid of Mortal Wounds on 6s, incidental rules. I like Mortal Wounds on 6s because the reason is good armor saves. So if you've got something that, like, you can proc a bunch of good Mortal Wounds, that is a huge positive against those armor save armies, which do exist. There are really good armor save armies, even more so now with Lumineth, weirdly, obviously. So you do have armies that have got a very good armor save. Mortal Wounds are your way around that. Rend or Mortal Wounds, but I weirdly don't mind them giving out Mortal Wounds as much in this situation as I do Rend, because some things don't get a save at all. I don't know. Mortal Wounds on 6s don't stress me out too much. Yeah, agreed. 4 or 5 up DPR on the Goddess. Yeah, we're all agreeing that. Okay, good. Points drop on Chaos Warriors or increasing Marauders. Make it actually a choice between the two. I just think make Warriors cheaper, which is weird. It's just weird. Like, why you would, like, Marauders are, again, big shout out to Curdle Cabbage. We did a show on it. Marauders are dumb. Like, they've got all weird rules that make them just better. You would have to completely rewrite Marauders and then completely rewrite Chaos Warriors. I don't think points either way. You just end up with a chaff unit that's kind of an elite unit that's too expensive in Marauders if you make it more expensive. And then you end up with a elite-ish unit that's crap in Warriors. There's a really good thing. Hello to Toon King Tristan and also to Trog the Bestest. What a pair of legends. Thanks for being here. She brings 200 points of models with her, says Crazy Horse. It doesn't matter. She's terrible. She's terrible. Terrible. It doesn't matter that she brings 200 points of models with her. We know that when we're having that discussion. She's terrible. She's terrible, terrible, terrible. I think that's an interesting issue as well as balancing armies. It's balancing classes of unit, like these top tier literal god on the table pieces, and they're all over the shop compared to each other. They are. I mean, but then also parity in between units, like Zangor and Carrick Acolytes, they're all over the shop compared to each other. Beasts of Chaos Beasts are all over the shop versus each other, although there's kind of a good sliding scale, which is fun. And you see that inside. I'm just trying to think of current examples. You see that inside, obviously, Seraphon. They're a good example. You got Croxagore, which, these big beefy beaty boys, and they're not actually as beefy as the shooty salamanders, which is weird, I guess. I like Mortal Wounds, don't get me wrong, but the Wildwoods rarely have any kind of impact as written. I think it should be better or not there. Okay, I get that. Afternoon, sorry again as well. Hello. Okay, I think that the God-style models need a rule forcing them to be the army general. No way Archeon or Nagash aren't in charge. Okay, that's actually another good point. The thing I've talked about many a time, but I'll repeat it here, is that I wouldn't mind seeing two versions of a god. So if we take Nagash as an example, I feel like hello Echo Scorpion, FYI. I feel like when you have Nagash on the table, ignoring if I've got tech lists, take those two out of it, I don't think a bunch of like elves on horseback really stand much of a chance versus the God of Death. Nor do I think, even as good as I know 20 Hearthguard Berserkers are, I don't think narratively it makes sense. So I wouldn't mind seeing two versions of the Nagash War Scroll, and one which means that maybe you could lower the abilities of Nagash and Teclis and Croak. You could drop them down a bit. In that you could have one version that's, let's say, 400-500 points, that doesn't do anywhere near what it does now, but it's a cool model on the tabletop. It's still decent, it's just not like crazy. And that's like, an aspect of Nagash. So it's like kind of like a shadow of Nagash, or Nagash has sent a bit of its will over there. Like it's not really there, if that makes sense. And then you have like the 4,000 point version, which you can use in big narrative games. You can have fun, and it's just like got all the crazy war rules, and it represents a god on the tabletop. I think that would actually be really cool. I think that'd be a really fun way to like break it up and mean that they can still sell the model, awesome. We can still use the model, awesome. But they don't have to try and juxtapose in a very short points like level. I saw a good argument the other day, especially with 9th edition coming up. Well, maybe we should play 10,000 point game, or no, 20,000 point game. Sorry, but we just times all of the war scrolls by 10. So if something costs 100 points, now it would cost 1,000 points. Is that right? You know what I'm saying? And that way that you could do some, you can make it a little bit more granular when you're writing out the points values on stuff. So you could fluctuate a little bit more. Right, and I think that would be, massive drop. Please, no one. Let's all ignore that today, if that's all right. What are we talking about? This future hobby. We're just talking about my future hobby. What I'm looking forward to is what we're currently talking about. But some of the stuff, GHB, that's the thing. Make Clan Rats battle line in all sub-factions, says Slab. This is interesting. Would increase the kind of list diversity we see for Skaven, and drop Magmadroth's points for an alternative Slayers build. Ah, okay. Oh, you mean inside Skaven. Okay, I like that. Multiple War Scrolls for the centerpiece models. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Multiple War Scrolls. Aspects of Nagash. As Nagash to act as a second in command, don't want to be the one who has to let Arkan know. I kind of like the aspects of a god idea. Thanks. I think it's not a terrible idea. And reduce the current stats and abilities, etc. Yeah, you guys are getting it. Just whack a 0 on the end. Simple, easy. How do you fix Nighthaunt? Says Warp Spider. I don't think Nighthaunt are in a terrible place. They just need points drops across the board, and also you need to stop it so that Legion and Nagash have access. Nighthaunt aren't good because you can put their units in another army, and that other army can just get those units back for free. But that doesn't mean that Nighthaunt are bad. It just means if you own Grimcast Reapers, Hex Wraiths, Chain Rafts, why wouldn't you, Spirit Hosts, why wouldn't you use them in the army where you can bring the unit back? So I think some points drops, their allegiance ability isn't bad. Points drops, sub-factions, I reckon Nighthaunt aren't too bad to go. They've got some incredible in-game abilities. The whole army flies, that's amazing. They ignore Rend, that's wild. They've got some good stuff, baby. They got some good stuff. They just need a tweak. I really do think that. And yes, maybe they do need a big hero. That could also help as well. I don't think it requires a rewrite for that book. I really don't, because I think what their core War Scrolls do are pretty decent. I just think that they could maybe do with a big monster. The Black Coach could maybe do with a rewrite, because it effectively does nothing. I think they could do something with the Black Coach, definitely, and make that really fun. I mean, if it just did a ton of impact hits and could retreat and charge, just give it that. Just have this flying monster running around, just impacting stuff. You got to deal with it. I think that would be awesome, and I think that would be that would be a good counterplay for that mobility and for that kind of endless horde motif that the army has. I think they should bring back Wood Elves, because it's K-Dread. I think that surely they're going to at some point, right? Are there more? Are there more than a small handful of battalions that are worth the points? Are you talking about the whole game? That's a great question. It can retreat and charge once it's powered up. Yeah, Ange, but it doesn't really do impact hits. That's what I'm trying to say. Have it so that it does terrific damage when it charges. Have it be like that's its main thing. It hits you, boom, does loads of damage, doesn't do much in a fight, but can retreat and charge in the next turn. Because there's a fun mechanic there. Because then in your turn you're like, well, I should charge that and beat it up, but it's not really good at attrition and fighting. But because it can retreat and charge, I need to stop it from running away and hitting me again. I like that. I like that as a mechanic that we haven't seen explored much, or at all. Have we seen that explored loads? That's a great question. I keep, by the way, asking myself questions and saying great question. And to be honest, I really don't like myself because of it. I want you guys to know that. I want you to know that I'm really judging myself for... okay. Fuck, I'm a moron. But I appreciate you guys listening and hanging out with me, because it's sweet AF. Yeah, day 102. Rob is in the studio. Anyway, so I am looking forward to GHB. Looking forward to 9th edition. Looking forward to GHB. Looking forward to playing my armies. What army do I want to play under the new GHB? Now that is the killer question for me that I am facing right now. I'm not sure. I'm kind of tempted to just keep playing Chaos. I really like the idea of running Be'lakor. I really like that. Be'lakor and then running mixed Chaosy elements. I liked Legion of the Chaos Ascendant the other day. I thought that was fun. But I feel like that I wouldn't mind playing Slaves to Darkness a little bit and just flirting around Chaos. I think there's a lot in Chaos, a lot to do with Chaos, and you could have a really fun time. I've obviously painted up my Tzeentch army over lockdown, but I think that's not going to survive the GHB or the nerfs. I think Flamers are going to go up. I think Horrors are going to go up. I think Court Summoners are going to go up. So I think, and then it's not that Zinch is bad. Don't get me wrong. It's just lots of the elements of Zinch are like quite fairly pointed. Skyfires are fairly pointed. Enlightened have gone up enough that I think they're close enough to be fairly pointed. Um, I would have to build a very clever Zinch list. And so that might be a fun thing to explore. I think I'd quite like to do Zinch and explore that, or just run around generally with Chaos and play around that area. Um, but what my question is to you guys: what are you planning on playing with the GHB? I know obviously Scrunty Hugh will be doing Sylvaneth. I could also do my not Sylvaneth, sorry, his Seraphon. I could also do my Seraphon, and you could do some fun Seraphon builds, like do quad Bastiladon. That's fun. In Thunder Lizards, and just have a good time with that. I kind of tempted to do Pterodons, but I don't want to paint 12 of them up. It's just too much for me. They've got really big wings. You have to be quite a good painter. There's a lot there to unpack about how much I don't want to approach painting those. But Bastiladons, I'd be super into painting those up. I think that'd be really fun. Pushing a bunch of skinks around could be cool. I don't mind that at all. Getting my big Dreadsaurian out. So I suppose Chaos, and then I could always dip into Seraphon when I wanted to. For me, there aren't loads of other armies that interest me, other than maybe Cities of Sigmar and just taking random units. Maybe. There isn't much else that currently interests me, apart from, get ready for this, Slaanesh. I feel like Slaanesh has got some really fun mechanics that have got nothing to do with the striking last ability. I think they've got some good spellcasters. They've got some good impact hits mechanics, which could be really fun to toy around with. I don't think it could win tournaments, but I think it would be a fun experience on the tabletop. And then, of course, there's always my Doom Wheels and Skaven. They were so much fun when I was playing them last year. So I could always go back to doing some Doom Wheels as well. So loads to talk about. Yeah, brilliant. Now you're all just saying great question in the chat, you dicks. Are there any tournaments you've attended in your role as a stream commentator that you wish you had attended as a player? Probably most of them, Winner Dave. To be honest, Bobo, CanCon, fuck yeah. CanCon, Bobo, Capital City Bloodbath. Just because I would have loved to just hang out in Canada for 2 days just playing games. But then the team I'll work with there, I think one of the things about going to tournaments is you get to meet and hang out with loads of people. And one of the really awesome things about when we go and do commentating is that I get to very closely work with a really great group of people. And one of the things that I've been, I'm going to just share some personal life with you now. One of the things I've always been fairly desperate to do with work that I do is just work with someone. Like, just have someone to bounce ideas off. You know, that camaraderie you get when you've got, like, a cool mate who you work with, and, like, the guy or the girl at work who's, like, your guy, who you just, like, you bounce ideas off with. When I used to do club nights a lot, I had a big crew that worked with me and for me. And it felt awesome. Like, that kind of collegial union was always really fun. So when we do commentary, those days are super hard. They're crazy long. They normally start an hour before the tournament starts, and they normally end an hour after the last game. So sometimes it's like 11 or 12 hours every day. That doesn't include the Friday setup. So you really get to, like, work those long, hard shifts. And I'm sure you guys have all experienced that as well. You know, when you work that long, big shift with someone, you just kind of feel like you've bonded a bit. And I really like that about the commentary. So I've become super close with all the guys who I've done that with, even if we've only done it the one time, and I feel like we've shared something. But similarly, I feel like you also kind of get that experience when you're at events. You are playing with all these guys. You're constantly seeing them like, oh, how did your last game go? Oh no, I had to play these guys. There's that same vibe. So I don't. But having some time off and just chilling and not having the stress of work as much as I enjoy what I do. CanCon definitely, Bobo definitely, Capital City Bloodbath very definitely. Let me have a think. Oh my god, Krigslantan, the fucking Swedish are just great. And they had a bunch of guys over from Norway, Finland. Those guys are just brilliant fun. That would have been a really fun one to do. Um, those are some of my top ones. The answer probably would just be all of them. But that would be some of my top ones. Because, yeah, great question. Thanks for the question, Winner Dave. But I mean, I attended one in Ireland yesterday. The Irish are great fun. Ireland, if you can get over to Ireland and play some Warhammer, you should. Like if you're like European and local, both Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, both of those two like places. I'm sorry, guys. I just think you're all the same. You're just fucking great dudes. That's how I lump you together. Aussies, great laugh to be around. So much fun. So much fun. The Kiwis, like, oh, I'd love to go to New Zealand and play some Warhammer. All those guys are just a fucking barrel of laughs. So yeah. Another question. Another question is, what style of list? You took that super fun Skaven list with all the randomness in it, or are you looking for a more focused list? MJ Pegasus. The Skaven list was, while it was random, it had some really good tools in it. You probably could build up Doom Wheels. If Doom Wheels go down in points in the GHB, they are super good in what they can do in the game. It just is a bit random. But if you compare them to what Squigs do, they kick Squig's ass because they're good. The Doom Wheels are decent. It's just, what do you do with the rest of the Skaven book, I think, is the real question. And I think you have to rely on casting a little bit less to mirror the idea that we're in a magic dominance phase when you're not able to cast spells as much as we once were. So your Vermin Lords probably aren't as useful as they once were in Skaven. But your Doom Wheels don't require any spells to cast. Using the Warpstone token that's going to give them +1 damage, you don't require anything to do. So I think you could build some really good Skaven lists. Like maybe take a few more clan rats than normally you would. I think you could build something really fun. But if they come down, and that's where they currently are, I'd expect Doom Wheels to maybe come down a little bit because they haven't seen much play. I haven't seen many people taking them. And so I'm hoping that means they generally get a reduction. But we'll see. Mortal Hina's Slash has some cool tricks as Mostin Powers. Yes, there we go. Donaldinho. Oh, it's robbing all of his friends because I'm on my own. His joke is, I have no friends, is his joke. And I'm just gonna cheers to you, Donald. Yeah? Cheers to you. Tristan says, my vote is for big brain cities. So doing the City Sigmar list. I can't really decide to do a City Sigmar list because Tristan is basically at this stage got a bit of a monopoly on just making his Cities of Sigmar list look baller AF. So I don't really want to fight him on that with all my conversions. But that would be a fun thing to do. 100% way more fun achieving stuff as a team, says Henry Steele. And Henry went pre-COVID, and after COVID he will also be doing live events and teaching people in group settings, which is awesome fun, and is super bodacious, and I'm sure he gets that feeling as well, working in unison with everyone else at Court Paint, so I can feel that. Zinch, Summoners Guild, Archeon, Gaunt Summoner, Lord on Foot, Blue Scribes. Yeah, so Moon Tyranid, I'm pretty certain we're going to see the Gaunt Summoner War Scroll change. I bet 100 quid on it. We're going to see the Gaunt Summoner change. Whether or not you can only summon 5 pink horrors, can only summon blue horrors, goes up in points. The Gaunt Summoner is not surviving this GHB. Fact. I'm just calling it now. KJ, when I work a long shift, I normally want to kill my work colleagues. Okay. See, no, I like working with the guys, but I think all the guys don't like working with me. So I'm the guy they want to kill. I think that's fair. I'm looking for jobs, says Colonel Cabbage. Don't you have the budget, though? I can offer you no pounds, but this one Vallejo paint, if you guys are interested in coming to work for me. With me. Seconded, Northern Ireland is amazing. Lived here for 5 years and I missed the crack. Yeah, great guys. Oh my God, Dan, don't keep doing this. I had a trip to book to play in New Zealand. The Rona stopped it, shattered. I'm really sorry about that. Hell Pit Abominations. I'd like to see Hell Pit Abominations come down some points. That's what I'd like to see. Hell Pits are good, but I'd like to see them come down some points because compared to other stuff, they're a bit too random. That would be fun. Some of those Skaven changes could make a really exciting faction. Doom Wheels are potentially amazing if cheaper. Your stupid resurrecting Hell Pit can get fucked though, says Peepra. I'm about it. I think Doom Wheels would be also like Doom Wheels though are interestingly both artillery and behemoth, so they take up two of the most important slots that you can take. But they're great shooting platforms and they do some okay damage in movement and shooting. So you could do some really fun. I'd like them to be cheaper. I'm 300 channel points away from making Rob do push-ups. Time to end the stream. Thanks for being here. Oh wait, shit! Has it been an hour? Oh my God! Well, it is time to end the stream then. That's got nothing to do with the push-ups. I'll do them on my own. Thank you. Okay, so to wrap it up, things I'm excited about: GHB, playing my new armies in GHB. I'm excited to read the Lumineth narrative soon. I'm really looking forward to that. Looking forward to 9th edition. I'm looking forward to playing those games. I'm looking forward to attend. Oh, Gersey, thanks very much. I'll do a bit of a sip. Looking forward to attending tournaments. I'm looking forward to making content as well, actually. Moonturner, we don't know when GHB is coming. I'm really looking forward to making content, especially the live content. So I haven't been idle while COVID has been on. Me and the guys have been working really. If you work out later, thanks Bridgebrush. I'll do those push-ups, and I will go ride my bike. I will. It's raining though. Oh God. We've been working really, really hard on making some like proper good live stream coverage for you guys when we get back to it. So I'm most excited about that, and I'm most excited. Oh my God, all of you dicks. And I'm also very excited about having some new people join us. So if you are listening, FYI, if you're based anywhere in the UK and you're interested in maybe doing some commentating or doing some support stuff when we do events in the future, like I've had wonderful people like Donaldinho. I say wonderful, but you know what I mean. And all the other guys who've helped me. You know, like this is the time to say. Like to pop up. So obviously my Twitter DMs, you can pop up in there and say, you know, I'd love to help, be a part of it, learn some things. If you think you could be a commentator who's better than me, I want to hear about it because I don't want to be the commentator. I want to be the show producer. I want to like make the best show possible, which means I can't do that while I'm also commentating, right? I want to give you guys power. So I'm also excited about that. I'm excited about us as a community growing and making it look swankier, really. That's it. Really rubbish stuff. So I have to do, let me just do this right, thanks to channel points. Fuck me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 times 20. I have to do 220 push-ups. Okay. All right. Well, let's go get started. Fuck. Winner David. I tried commentating last weekend for the first time. It was harder than I thought. Thank you. It's not easy. Okay, 230 push-ups. Have fun. Right. Anyway, good luck. Yeah. Pray for Rob is the real question. Thank you for joining me live. You guys are amazing. Thank you for always joining me live. Stream Street 102, it's wild. Thank you to everyone on this Wargamer. Patreon couldn't do it without you. Thank you, of course, to everyone